I think in the last video I talked about putting on the face in this video, but actually I'm going to wait till the next video. Uh, there's a reason. You could put on the face now, the face and the hands and the lens and the bezel, uh, and then attach the cord to the coil. But I like to do it in this order for a particular reason, well, I'm going to explain to you. So first thing that I did here was I put the set knob back on there. And one thing I do after I get the movement all put back together is I'll pull the set knob and I'll just turn it a bunch of times and make sure that it's not binding anywhere. I want to find that out before I put it all back together again if there's a problem, so I can take care of that. And everything's moving real nice, so that's good. So the next thing for me is going to be to put on a cord on this coil. And I've got some of that liquid tape on here, which I'm just going to knock off a little bit of it. Probably doesn't even matter, but inevitably some of it will get on these leads. And talk to you about the type of wire that I use typically for replacement. So at Lowe's and at Home Depot, you can buy this, it's called, they refer to it as lamp cord. Okay, so if you go in and ask for lamp cord, hopefully somebody will be able to help you find it, but it's real basic, and it looks like this. Okay, and what I'm using here, I bought a spool because I do more than one clock, but it says SPT-118/2. That's the numbers of the type of cord that I use on these clocks. Okay, so now people get into using all kinds of designer cords, cloth covered cords and everything like that, and that's cool if that's, you know, what you want to do. And I do on some clocks, but most clocks I'll use this. And a lot of people say, well, you're really cheap. Actually isn't that cheap because it's copper. It's like $1 a foot. So I've cut off 6 feet, and that's typically the cord I'll use is approximately 6 feet, maybe a couple inches more. And so what I'm going to do is I'm taking off some insulation, about a quarter of an inch, maybe a little bit more, and I'm just going to stick it through this hole in the lead, and then I'm going to take a pair of tweezers, I'm going to poke through, make sure, I think, oh yeah, I have some of that liquid tape is still blocking the hole. But I'm going to stick the first one through, and then I'm going to take a pair of tweezers and I'm just going to bend it back over the lead. All right, so just take it like that, bend it back over the lead, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the other one. Well, if I can get some cooperation here, that would be nice. I think I have a little liquid tape in both of these. I should have cleared out a little bit more. Okay, let's see what happens with that. But anyway, you get it. I'm just going to do the same thing here, and then I'm going to get my solder gun, and I'm going to put a little bit of solder right there and right there. I'll sometimes, you know, use the blocks or something to just keep it in place while I'm doing this. So I'm going to use my solder gun, and I'm going to use this right here, and this is something that was recommended to me. It's called silver bearing rosin core solder, and this works great. So I'll take my solder gun, and I'm just going to hold it on one of these leads take my solder, and what I generally do is just push the solder on there, push it in and get some on, and then stop. And I'm going to do this on the other one. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to see if I have enough solder on there to hold the wires in place. So now I put it on there, I'm going to go back, see if it's loose at all, and it's not. So that should do it. Now for the plug, and here again you can get into all kinds of fancy plugs and everything. They're not cheap either. Everybody thinks that plugs are cheap. They're not if you go and look at how much they cost. So anyway, this is one that I got in on some other clock that I saved, and I really like this kind of plug. It's really easy, okay? And the way it works is you take the end of your cord, which should be as straight as possible, and you put it down into this hole, and then you're going to clamp these like that, and there are these little prongs inside which cut into each side of the cord. Now, I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a little dot right there. That's where one side has gone in. That's where the other side has gone in. And that's enough to make the connection. If you use these, don't forget to put this on your cord before you do it, because that's not good. And what I'll typically do is I will test the cord beforehand. Now, a note of caution, some clocks you cannot put the plug on until after you've reassembled it and pulled the cord out through the back. But this design, the Butler, it doesn't matter. It has this opening, so we can do it this way. So you want to check that before you add your plug. Now, what I want to do is I want to see if this thing, how it's going to work before I put on the face and the hands and everything else. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the sweep hand and I'm going to put it on, and then I'm going to plug it in. And what I'm looking for is for that sweep hand to be moving around, and I'm going to listen. Do I hear any strange sounds, anything like that? Okay, because if I do, then I want to address that before I put everything back together again, especially the bezel, which I told you about. The tabs can only be bent so many times before they snap off. So let's plug it in and see what happens. Okay, so I'm not hearing any funny noises. Sweep hands going around. So it looks like we're in business. One thing I can do, if I feel like it, is test the power indicator. Of course, with this one, it's just a matter of rocking it backwards because of this design. If it was set by pulling the set shaft, I'd do that. And now what I'm going to do is take the sweep hand off of there, and the next video I'm going to add the face and the hands and the lens and the bezel.